All right, welcome everyone to Dostoevsky Society. All right, so we can do some vignettes to lead us into the next novel chapter.
Yeah, I think the vignette that we see. Have we decided where our next novel chapter is going to be? Is it in the city or is it?
I think it should still be in the city. No,
Yeah.
maybe.
So the next thing that the vignette is this. We see Misha rushing around a strange room, shoving things into boxes and suitcases, and Yvonne, frazzled, coming from the next room to help. And then we see him loading all of these things into some sort of carriage, and speaking rushedly with the driver, and then putting a very tearful Yvonne onto the carriage. And Yvonne's sort of like holding his hands and crying and upset. And Misha is also frantic looking, but not like upset. And then the carriage riding away, and this is like the middle of the night. Then the carriage riding away, and Misha, striding off into the darkness.
Misha, you are not smart enough to hide Vanya where I cannot find him.
Oh, I know. He's gonna try.
So I have a vignette for Leonia. So very similar to the last one, the camera is doing a lot of quick cutting and panning. It is zooming in on things and not Leonia himself specifically, because we are only again perceiving him through the reflections around him. So we see him striding down the street, and his reflection is caught in a puddle of water that he steps in on a bright golden morning. And then we see him reflected in like the shining skin of an apple that he picks up and purchases from a vendor. And then as he's walking down the street, we see him smiling and with a pep in his step in the reflection of a shop window. And then in the police station, we see him reflected, like saying hello to the clerk at the front desk, who within the reflection of their phone. And then at the very end, you see him saying like, great job on the coffee as always, Veronica. And then you see like the receptionist that we were talking about last time, like scrubbing the samovar, and you see him just like really radiantly happy in the reflection of the samovar, and everyone around him is like noticing this positive change in him.
I think we see Panya in a kind of dismal looking room. And she's going through a stack of what are obviously letters. And next to her is some poor student who's copying out things and taking dictation from her. In the corner, you can see Stepan Mikhailovich kind of wringing his hands. And like, there's a knock on the door, and it opens, and she jumps up, and a woman comes in, like furtively hands her a letter, and she passes some rubles back. And as she turns away, the camera would catch that this is obviously one of Misha's maids. And Panya is reading through these letters that she got him, and stops for a second and like grabs a notebook, and then slowly you start to see the dawning of a realization in her eyes.
I think Clara's vignette is her at her aunt's estate. Um, I think much like the previous vignette, it's like shot like kind of like in a far away but like zoomed in kind of like camera shot as if like someone's watching Clara as she's like taking a walk around like the estate gardens. Um, she's um kind of like swaying as she's walking, kind of like almost childish, childishly, or that's not a word, childishly. Um, I think she feels and looks and feels less like her own person here. Um, partially because she knows that like this estate abounds with her cousins, and there's like a few just like hanging around in the background. But like she's like just taking a walk in these gardens and like trying to like clear her head and um trying to get rid of that ticking clock. um because it's nice and peaceful out here in nature. um and but that feeling of like being watched is still kind of like there. So she can still kind of like hear again that tick 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 of of clock hands winding down. To what, she's still not sure, but she's still kind of uneasy even here in around the state. Like um can't escape that like sensation of dread just mounting.
Max is clearly been working at Misha's Gardens and is on the omnibus speaking to another, well, hanging, I think, off the edge of the very, very crowded omnibus, speaking to another gardener who has also clearly been working hard at Misha. And when he notices a street sign and hastily makes a goodbye uh, and disembarks and then walks towards a small shop, and you see him arguing, not like heatedly, but definitely like haggling with someone behind the counter, and constantly putting down and like perpetually building a stack of paper money, um, and then eventually like points to the paper money and or point and then shrugs and points to the door and starts to reach for the stack of paper money, and the person at the counter taps him on the arm and hands him, checks to make sure there is no one else in the shop, and then hands him a pistol. Takes the money. Max puts on a jacket he has carried with him today, but not worn all day because it is too warm. Puts the pistol into the coat and leaves the shop.
Cool. New novel chapter time. May I propose visits? Because I have two things I want to get done in this chapter for me. They may well make sense to bookend the events of this novel chapter. So, the first thing I would like to do is to arrange a meeting between Panya and Clara. Probably starting in some public place, but maybe moving towards a location where we can have some privacy. And at some point, Victor Konstanovich is going to join us. Ask not for whom the bell tolls, my friend.
Oh God.
It told
Yeah.
for all of us.
I'm thinking it's a beastly day in autumn. It's cold and windy and gray. There's less and less daylight. So how do you want to do this? Do we go out for a walk on the Nevsky, or do we go to one of the parks, like the Alexander Park?
The Nevsky sounds grand. I think
Wow.
Clara has escaped her aunt's state for like a day. And it's kind of like, oh, I have to meet with my tenant or whatnot, and yeah, it's like found you and being like, yeah, look, let's just enjoy the day. Let's just take a walk by the river, and just I don't know, enjoy each other's company, etc., etc.
Yes, I think Panya finds you. We're already like marching toward it's already like one of the less decent parts. And she like surprises you practically, and it just springs out. It comes running up to you like, "Oh my goodness, Clara! What horrifying weather!" She's got like a scarf draped around her head.
Anya, I wasn't expecting to see you. Here I was just walking in this weather. I thought you'd be sensible enough to not subject yourself to something like this. Oh,
Oh,
the wind's quite sharp.
well, it's beastly out, but the company is good. We've had such little time to spend together.
Well, it seems that we only ever see each other in functions. So, would you would you care to accompany me down the river?
Absolutely. Let's go this way. It's more private.
Very well. You can lead me wherever you wish me to lead. Wherever you wish to lead me.
Is that sounds like a promise, Clara?
What do I have to fear from you, Panya?
For me? Nothing. We're good friends. I've missed your company. I've just been so devilishly busy.
I'm always so busy. I hope you take some time to, well, for yourself. I know your dedication is ironclad, but
Well,
you're still human.
I believe a number of things are now coming to a head, and that soon the more difficult parts of what I came here to do will be accomplished very soon, I hope. And she kind of like gets very quiet for a little while. Like the mask doesn't quite drop, but her face kind of just goes blank. Well, in any case, yes.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. And, well, should the time come when you could chance some time for yourself, well,
I have wished to have more time with you, Clara. I have. That letter you wrote me was quite tender.
oh, right, yes. I perhaps laid out more than I thought I would. But
I should. You shouldn't be worried or afraid or embarrassed about that, Clara. The communication of true hearts is that not what we want? To live in a society where true hearts can speak to each other and not. I mean, look at poor Max slaving away, and every time he tries to file an article, it comes back half torn to pieces by the imperial censor. That's not life.
Kara thinks Panya's so hot right now. Um, uh, and I think like she she speaks. Maybe her voice is a bit dry.
We can definitely be near a convenient courtyard or
yeah. I think like I think yeah. Kara says like throat dry. You you speak with so much conviction. I I dare say do not understand how others cannot see as you do. And I think Kara will like um kind of like there as soon as she sees the nearest alcove, will kind of like um gently, not so gently, oh medium, um push Panya over there and we'll say like I I I hope that in all of this I had not misconstrued that you do not turn away such affections, Panya. I wish to live in such a world as you have described, to be free to profess such love. Believe I know the way to do so at this moment. Kara's saying that as she's saying this, she's like head getting closer, face getting closer and closer to Panya's. And I think as she says that, she will kiss her.
like Panya starts back for a second, looks at you. Clara Georgievna. And then returns the kiss. But this is from someone who knows what she's doing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And you may take all sorts of implications from the from the connotations of that phrase.
Yeah, honestly, Kara also knows what she's doing. She's lived a life.
Hmm.
um,
I may not have only been discussing technique. Panya, like she has like one arm like wrapped over your hand. And well, let's get out of the cold. I know that place looks like a frightful dive, but they must have a samovar.
I had hoped you were leading me someplace comfortable.
I think so. I think it's one of those. It looks like it's a real dive. It's like you gotta go down below street level and open up, and like the smell of stale alcohol hits you. But there is a samovar in one corner. But us and maybe Clara is a little too besotted to notice that Panya gives a curt nod to somebody sitting right by the door, and like a bunch of people just get up and move to the back room. And Clara just goes over, pours a cup of tea and hands it to Clara, and just says, "Thank you. Frankly, I was wondering what you were waiting for. And forgive me. And that's your cue, Victor."
Yeah. So at this point, it's probably when Clara notices somebody wheel up to her in a wheelchair, and I'm just going to retroactively say that we have seen like photos of Victor previously where he is big and strong and stunningly handsome, and this man that you see in front of you is like a ghost of that. And the only thing that you see there is like he is withered and he looks like the life has been taken out of him, except for the fact that his eyes are as sharp and as devilish as you always remembered them. And
Is
he
Lyra
says,
is Lyra with you?
she will make an appearance
Okay.
in a moment. If Clara is not so absolutely like bamboozled that she doesn't look around her, one may notice that there is a young girl at a distant table with someone looking over her.
Praskovia is starting to just. She's not sobbing, but she is weeping when she sees you, because I don't think she was ready for this. So tears are leaking out of the sides of her eyes. Victor Konstanovich, Clara Yozhevna.
Thank you, Miss Semyonova. Your assistance has been greatly appreciated. Clara, it has been quite a while.
I think Kara first, like, it doesn't like sink in immediately because Victor's at first, like, Clara doesn't know it doesn't immediately sink in because Victor's appearance is such a shock, because she remembers Victor 8 years ago, um not being like this. And I think seeing the exchange between him and Panya, she lets out this, like, it's kind of like a mix between a laugh and a yelp and a yell. It's more of a laugh, really. And I think, like, she's like holding the tea that Panya gave her for, like, warmth, and I think she just kind of like says slowly and kind of like almost with difficulty, like, Victor, it it has been some time, yes. You,
8 long years.
8 years has it been? I suppose you've kept count.
Oh, I am reminded of it from time to time. After all, I do have a yearly reminder.
Yes, you you do, I suppose. You brought her along, have you? I suppose.
And deny her the opportunity to meet the one person that she asks about more than anyone else?
I suppose it's not anyone's fault she would ask that. But
On the contrary, I do think it is someone's fault that she asks that.
you, if you don't mind me saying so, you don't look well, Victor. Has has the rest of Europe not been kind?
Mm. The people of Europe have been very kind, but alas, fate has not. Doctors will argue about this or that, say this treatment, that treatment, rest, relaxation, medication, whatever they want. But here I am. My
Hmm.
ideals shall outlive me, and I shall never see them come to fruition.
Well, isn't that the tragedy of a romantic? Um, Quick, brief glance at Panya before back at Victor. Uh, I understand then why you'd bother to come back. It must have taken quite the effort, after all. There was no considerable expense sending you away the first time.
No, indeed. I'm sure it cost you a pretty penny.
Hmm. My aunt still crows about it. Still to this day. I think you can tell there's like a bit more venom in Clara's voice because she's also kind of telling Panya uh, what they did to Victor. Um, she doesn't regret it. She does send her regards. Um, not it was her suggestion to do it, but I still signed off of it. I don't suppose you remember what you were like 8 years ago, Victor.
I think I was at least able to stand up on my own for longer than an hour.
Well, aren't you the quintessential Russian tragedy then? So inspirational.
Oh, Clara, do not let my present form fool you. I know that though I will not live to see my dreams come to fruition, that my dreams will indeed still come to fruition. You see, my dreams, my ideals, the things that I have at one time instilled in you and then have continued to instill in our daughter, those will live on. Those continue to live on, to grow, to gain footing, to gain traction. In fact, are you not here because one such person who believes in such ideals led you to me?
I was led here by the strength of her convictions, yes, but also the shape of her lips. I suppose that's not too dissimilar to how I was led to you, or how you were.
Yes, I do believe that those though I do recall those days fondly when we were alive with the fire and the passion of our ideals, and they led to a fire and a passion of a different kind. Alas, I think those days are a bit behind me, so I must warm myself with my philosophy instead.
Hmm. How tragic. How tragic. What is it that you hope to accomplish, Victor? Are you here to ruin me? Are you here to drag me down? Are you here to kill me?
Clara, ruin you, drag you down, kill you. I want to free you. I want to return you to your rightful place. I want to return you to the ideals that you once held so deeply and that you seem to have so easily thrown away. But don't worry, my ideals will forgive you, even if I cannot.
You expect me to prostrate myself to your ideals, to your I think Kara sneers when she says, to your faith, to your little convictions. What? It's been 8 years, Victor. What makes you think I've not hollowed myself out to get away from what you represent, what you embody? Why don't you ask dear Panya here how devoted or dedicated I am to your ideals? How truly, I'm sure she has the right measure of me all this time.
Hmm. Oh, Clara, I don't honestly need you to believe anything. If you were just put on a leash by someone like Panya, if you were just put in place to do what I need you to do, then truly, is there really any difference of whether you believe or not? Because you may laugh at my ideals now, as this society has programmed you to do, or as that you have willingly submitted to, but these ideals are like the tide, they cannot be stopped. You can put up a poster in here, you can try to build a wall there, but in the grand scheme of things, you can never stop the tide. Really, all I'm asking you to be is a good steward, to watch over the ships that will rise above the land and take over this place. I don't need you to believe. I just need you to take care of those who do. And then that's the point where I look over and we see Lyra, and she is beautiful and golden, and the lighting has just like illuminated her in such a way that even in this dingy dark bar, you can see all of the hopes for the future that Victor has placed upon her.
I think Panya's walking her over and kind of leans down and points. Kind, da ist deine Mutter.
I think like Clara like stands up seeing Lyra and kind of like again gives Victor this like just this angry, withering kind of like look, and walks over to like Lyra and like kneels down to like be at her eye level and says, "Hello. It's very nice to meet you." And I think like Kara like smiles quite sweetly and says, "You have family here who have been looking forward to meeting you. Would you like to meet them soon?"
I will pay you one of Victor's resolve tokens for her to start naming all of the people that you used to know and that he has already introduced herself to. He has already introduced her to, and just to show that like he has been planning this for a long time.
Yeah, I'll take that token. I think like Kara stiffens at that and at the list, so to speak, and says, and I think she says, "Yes, old friends from long ago. I hope they're well. I hope they've treated you well. I have not been able. I have not. Sorry, I had a line. Clara wouldn't stumble over this. I'm stumbling over this. I hope they've treated you well. Sounds like your father has done his best to raise you, and I'm proud of him for that."
I think while you're talking with Lyra, I go over and do the aside with Victor Konstanovich. I just sort of take your hand and they didn't tell me it was like this.
Oh, why should they tell you this? Why should you have to prepare for a grief that you'll have to experience anyway?
You're comfortable? We have to move you again tonight.
It does not matter. Whatever pain may come, it is all for the greater good.
I had hoped. I had hoped that you coming here would be. But I see we both have hoped in vain, Victor Konstanovich.
Oh, Paskovia Pavlovna, there's nothing in vain about this. This may be my final act in this grand play, but it is only the opening act in the play of Russia's revolution. I am but a prologue. You are the one who will carry things on into the finale. You and the people you have built up around you. I see how hard you've worked for this, and I see how much you are doing for our cause.
I won't fail you. I will take care. I will take care of the organization here and protect you until you belong to eternity.
And he pats you on the hand and he says, I am glad that eternity did not come before I had a chance to see my family reunited. And for you, and to you, I am eternally grateful.
It will never be enough. I just turned to Clara. How is Clara getting along with Lyra?
It's awkward because I think Lyra's been telling Clara what's happened to those people that she knew. Not all the best of fates. And I think like Clara's just like nodding dumbly along, and like as again Lyra's like telling us again with like eloquence that belies her age, I think.
Clara, we have to go.
Very, very well. I'll see you again soon, I hope. I think Lara and Clara exchange stiff hugs. And I think
I actually look at Victor Konstanovich like, should we take her?
And Victor smiles and says, oh, not yet. That is already arranged. At some point, Clara, Lyros will come to you. And I think that by that time, you shall be ready to receive her.
It's funny the lengths you've gone through to ensure my stewardship, or whatever flighty metaphor you've chosen to use. You've always been one for the metaphors. Honestly, the feel of Praskovia Pavlova's lips would have been enough to keep me leashed. And yet you've taken the extra step, Victor. You've always taken the extra step.
Don't be crude, Clara.
I live my life with a kind of crude sophistication. I pretend to debt that I have gleaned from others. That perhaps is my mask.
Yes. I'm sure we feel very sorry for how deprived you are. You have me and my friendship. Let's go. It is not safe for any of us to stay here any longer.
Before you go, Victor reaches out, and this is the first time he has touched you. He grabs you by the wrist, not by the hand, by the wrist. And you feel like the ghostly, like little trace over like the veins on the inside of your arm. And he says, Clara, whether you believe me or not, this reunion, though mostly for her, was also for me. I am glad to see you well, and I intend to see you better. Whether we cross paths again, that is for fate to decide. But I am glad to have seen you one last time at least.
I think like Clara will like lean like close to Victor, just like see him, behold him in his state, and we'll kind of like say like just to the two of them, we'll say, I was not expecting to see you in this state, Victor. If you were more able, I'd considered perhaps having you one last time. and wrenches her wrist out of Victor's grasp and will like try to leave with her head held high. Look, she's fixated in gratification. This would have been part of it as well. Um,
Okay. Wow. Okay. Everybody else can go into the pool now.
Whew.
I would like to have a conversation with Misha because we haven't talked in a while.
Sure.
And I feel like
Great.
we could, after all that tragic bisexuality.
Want to talk about the weather? It's warm today.
We could use a little straightforward gay melodrama instead of
straightforward gay melodrama. Yeah, no, how about this for gay melodrama? You come upon Misha draped across a fountain in his garden, which,
a cold September day, like possibly the same day that we're like everything is going down, and
yeah, it's like bitter cold out. He's half dressed. He has a bottle of brandy, and he's just sort of like laying on the edge of the fountain with his hand holding the brandy kind of hanging down into the basin that is, of course, like empty right now because it's going to be winter. And he's just staring up at the sky.
And this is half dressed for 19th century Russia, so it probably involves like 7 layers of clothing instead of the recommended 14.
Fully dressed, but undressed for Russia.
We call it Russian nude.
It's Russian naked. You can see a little bit of my clavicle. Lewd.
Also, we can sympathize by the fact that you only have 2 layers of clothing underneath.
Mm-hmm. It's a shame for me.
I come out with the small samovar, which I've had somebody heat up, and 2 small teacups. And I sit down at the, propping my back on the fountain and hand you a cup of tea, probably spiked with something sort of French or Italian that involves like at least 150 different herbs.
Yeah. He waits to accept it and just sort of like slides sideways off of the lip of the thing.
If it's not strong enough, he points to a flask and puts it back into his breast pocket.
Yeah. He sits down in the dirt next to you and puts the brandy bottle between the two of you and sips the tea for a second.
There are people who theorize that the great danger of having brandy when it's cold is that it doesn't actually make you warm. It just makes you feel warm while you're freezing to death.
Well, that would not be so bad a thing if I did not have certain responsibilities. Max.
Misha.
Max. I think I have been a fool. I think I have been a fool at least twice.
I feel like youth, title, and money should entitle you to be at least a fool 3 times.
I have fallen unabashedly for someone who I think is potentially a danger to me. And I am attempting to do something good for another someone that will be maybe betraying the confidence of a good friend. And I'm trying to be a good revolutionary. I'm trying to actually cleave to the ideals that I have, but one of my ideals is not letting people get murdered for being manipulated by the secret police. And I feel as though there's nothing wrong with that. I should be able to just send them away, and then nobody has to worry about them because they're gone. They're gone. And Max, I think I have been foolish.
You've been foolish twice, you say?
Well, the other one was that I have been indiscreet with a person who is involved in law enforcement, and I believe that might have been unwise.
A member of the secret police? Because Max is clueless.
No.
A member of the secret police?
I don't believe so. I think he's just a member of the regular police. But isn't that bad enough?
That would be something for the czarist to try, installing a member of the secret police as a member of the regular police. Are you talking about Leonia?
I am. He's so handsome. He's so tall. He's so tall. And I am so smitten, but I worry that he is a man of duty. And if he is a man of duty, then he must turn me in or never speak to me again, because if he speaks to me again, he will have to turn me in. And I don't think that's very productive for a relationship. He's so tall. And then
What does he know about you?
What does
I
he know
say,
about me?
spilling your tea again.
He knows that I have leftist tendencies, and he knows what my mouth tastes like. Both of those things he knows them fairly
But he
well.
does not know you know members of a revolutionary party?
Well, unless he already knows who those members are, I don't know what he knows. Only he knows what he knows, and maybe he doesn't even know that he knows it. You could.
I think Max does smile at you despite the look of concern in his eyes. He's trying to weigh, do I look at you like I'm worried about everybody's safety, or do I look at you like you're being hysterically funny?
He's very drunk.
Misha,
Yes.
I think it's time for you to think about, well, right this moment, you shouldn't minimize thinking, but you should minimize decision making. But I do think it's time for you to think about what he might know.
I mean, there's so much that he might know. I know him as much as I know him, and I've never looked through his papers or anything. I don't know what he knows.
Through yours, as he's been in your study, has he looked through your belongings? Has he spent the night here in your home?
No. No, and I mean, he was in my library, but I was with him, so.
Has he ever been in your study unaccompanied?
Not to my knowledge.
Has he ever been in your house unaccompanied?
I don't think so. Sometimes there are so many people here.
That is very true.
Maybe I should just stop.
One of those
speaking
people
to him,
is
but
a member of the police.
yes, I know, but maybe I should just stop speaking to him, but I have feelings. Maybe I should talk to him about my feelings?
I would never debate you talking to someone about your feelings. I say, as someone who's never told anyone what I felt in my entire life.
Yes,
I
you
mean,
are
words are strange, but
close
I
to the best.
do not think it's wise for you to. And here fills up the tea enough to leave room for whatever you add to it, and then add something to it for you. I think it would be unwise for you to leave him emotionally unattended.
I should probably talk to him.
I think you should keep an eye on him.
I can do that. Oh,
What I'm saying?
I said
Yes,
both.
you can keep both eyes on him.
But do
He
you
is
think
simply prone to, well,
acts of valiance?
Max starts to speak, but realizes he is about to say something profoundly hypocritical. And then decides to, as only a 27-year-old can, decides to proceed forward. Uh, Acts of vanity?
Hmm.
He's been thwarted in his career ambitions before.
Yes, he told me.
Does he still blame me?
Oh, yes. Very angry. Very, very not your friend. But, you know, people are allowed to be wrong.
You know, people are also allowed to be right.
I don't know which of you is wrong. I wasn't there, and I like you both, and so I still am friends with both of you.
Oh,
But
oh, oh. But, Leonia is an important person, and
Mhm.
I work for you.
Yes. The problem is that I have certain feelings. And then the problem is Panya.
Ponya is a problem?
Well, the things that I have done that Panya would not approve of are a problem. I'm very worried she's going to just shoot
Again,
me dead.
I look carefully around the grounds to make sure that we are alone out here.
Mhm.
Do you know that when you get drunk in your garden on a day as cold as this, the
Mhm.
rest of your staff is frightened of you?
For what reason?
It seems, I don't know, mystical and poetic, perhaps possessed.
Well, if it means they leave me alone, then that's probably a good thing.
I hand you a muffler.
Thank you. If I wear a warm coat, will they be less afraid?
Possibly. But I think if we're going to discuss Ponya, we should discuss her out here.
Hmm.
What have you done to upset her?
You are my friend, and I can trust you.
I am someone who has admired Ponya a great deal, but I'm not certain I would trust her.
No, I meant you and me. There is a man who,
You can, yes, no, in this, yes, you should trust me.
yes, there is a man. There's a man who was helping Panya with the things that Panya does. And then the secret police threatened his family. He said certain things to the secret police. And now I'm fairly certain that Panya wants to kill him. But I don't think that's right. And so I am going to try to help him to not be dead. And I feel like eventually this is going to end in both me and him dead and Panya with a gun. But I don't think that it is right to necessarily punish someone for falling victim to the excruciating power of the state.
I take off my outer coat and hand it to you and stand up as if trying to warm myself, but I stand between you and the view of anyone watching us from the house.
Mm-hmm.
And I look at you and I say, "Who is the man?"
Oblonsky. Vanya, the artist.
Um, the rest, like my face has been getting very red in the wind, but the rest of my face goes very white.
Yes.
And who is also would never consider me a friend. I did not know you knew Oblonsky.
Well, we knew each other. And then we didn't really know each other. And then when he got in trouble, he decided that he knew me.
Which time that he got in trouble?
This one.
And to think I'm a journalist. I squat down on my haunches and just look. He's been in trouble again.
Oh, what's he been in trouble for this time?
That's why Lenya and I had a falling out.
Oh, no.
It was over that painting.
Well, he has a knack for it, I suppose. I just don't think that he deserves to die. But I don't think that anyone deserves to die. And maybe I'm just too idealistic and too soft for these things. Maybe my mother was right.
Sir, I have met your mother and I have trouble believing that.
Me too, which should tell you how drunk I am.
Did you send Oblonsky somewhere separate, away?
I did. But I have no illusions that he will be safe wherever he is.
Who else knows?
Only me. And the driver.
And the driver.
My driver.
Yes.
But still.
Ponya has access to persuasive measures.
Yes, as I said, I don't have any illusions that he's going to be safe where he is. My goal is to get him out of the country. And at least then I will have tried, you know. If she catches him in France or something, it's not my problem.
Where is he not?
Where is he not?
Yes. Somewhere believable. That he is definitely not.
Oh, well, he's home.
Somewhere that we could distract anyone looking for him by sending them there.
Oh, well, there's his mother's home. He is definitely not there.
Would you want to put his mother in harm's way?
Fair. But she
I've
doesn't.
never met her.
I've never met her either. Where else is he definitely not? He wouldn't go to the church for sanctuary.
Moscow?
Moscow.
I name a monastery near Moscow, some famous monastery.
Yes, for sure. He would never go there. He's a staunch atheist, that one.
I think
What
I
do you
know
think?
some people who can divert Panya there.
Really?
Oh, of course. The
And then
revolution
get him on a
is
boat.
filled with aging gossips.
And then we get him on a boat and send him off.
I would have to say you get him on a boat and send him off.
Right, correct. Yes, yes. By we, I meant.
You and your driver are already one too many people to know where he is.
True. All right. If you can distract, I will move him. She'll never forgive me. But I was a terrible revolutionary anyway, apparently.
Should she know I was doing things for you?
Well, terrible people, apparently.
Can I confess something to you? I say,
Of course.
sitting.
Of course, I've confessed everything to you.
Sometimes I worry that our movement to save humanity leaves too many dead bodies in its wake.
What is that poet that said fighting for peace is like fucking for virginity?
Gee, that seems like the perfect cutaway line.
Yeah, it was good.
So it's very late at night, that same beastly, windy, cold night. And we see Vanya stowed in some middle-class looking hotel. Or not hotel, but like an apartment building.
Yeah, poor guy.
And there's a knock on the door. And when he opens it, there's Praskovia with her scarf wrapped around her head. And the only question I have is Max with her?
No.
Okay, good. And then it's Stepan Mikhailovich.
Yeah,
Which is
okay.
a problem because they're both Leandro, but Stepan is not saying much. He looks gray.
Yeah. No, Stefan is like grim.
I can step in and be Stefan if we want to have somebody be Stefan.
Ivan Yevgenovich, please, do you mind if I step inside for a moment?
But of course, who am I to deny you, Praskovia Pavlovna? Please.
We've had such
Stepan.
such few chances to speak since I got back, and that is my fault. I would not want to leave a comrade such as yourself hanging. I understand too, though, that you've discovered perhaps that being an active member of the organization has become too trying for you.
And I suppose it would be a waste of time to offer some tea to the both of you.
We don't have time.
No, there's never enough time, is there?
Evgen Yevgenovich, Vanya, it is not the nature of our organization to wish to have unreluctant members. Or rather, reluctant members. I understand. We know that you are true, and we have nothing to worry about. But I will speak to our leaders back, well, wherever they are. You have nothing to fear, but I do require one last service that you can do for your comrades before you go. Before we all have to pretend not to know each other very well. This one last moment of comradely affection that we can share. It is not a particularly difficult matter, but you see, we have a printing press that must be moved. It can no longer stay here. We have to move it to the other side, across the Neva. But as you can see, all we have is Stepan Mihailovich and myself. It was loaded into the boat. The boat was given to us, and the boat and those who loaded it are nowhere to be found. It is probably for the best that we don't know where they are. You understand, secrecy is important. We simply need your help to help us row it across the Neva and then carry it up to the street. There will be a carriage waiting for us. I know it is sudden and it is a beastly night out, but I have no one else to turn to. And you are the best candidate because you have had no connection with me since I returned to St. Petersburg, save that one party at Clara Georgievna's.
I think Ivan definitely has the air of, he's walking to the gallows, as he says. Like,
And not that you require remuneration, but as I understand, you may wish to leave St. Petersburg shortly. I have been authorized to give you some 500 rubles as traveling money. I hope you will not consider that a great expense, but we understand that you will probably wish to be out of your familiar environment for a while until such time as the police searches. Ever since, well, there have been some incidents. It's nothing that you need to worry about. You are well and truly out of it.
I hope I do deny help to such a dedicated member of the movement. Skovia Pavlovna.
My dear comrade, I shall most certainly miss the opportunity we have to talk about art. I remember those days quite fondly when we would gather at Mikhail Grigorievich's and speak of such things. Sad that the situation requires that we must sacrifice so much. Well, come with me, hurry, throw on this coat. And she's like, before you can realize that she's shoving you into a coat and you're both being bundled down the stairs. Down to one of the canals where there is, in fact, a small boat with a pole.
Yeah.
I'm down inside, quickly, before we're seen.
Yeah, I don't think Vanya even resists. I think he kind of knows what's coming.
So there's like this nice nighttime shot as we pull out into the Neva past the menacing Peter and Paul fortress, which is where so many political prisoners have been locked up, and slowly turn down one of the more disreputable canals. And Panya leans over and like, look, it's right up over there. And did you think we would not find out what you've done, you goddamn traitor? Pulls up and puts a pistol to the back of your head and fires. I think Stepan Mikhailovich, of course, is just like completely in panic at this point, and Panya like just turns on him. It's like, don't just sit there. Get the rope around, and we've got to push him into the canal. Reaches inside Vanya's pocket to pull out the money that she gave him. Stuffs it back into her dress. There's this horrifying scene of them trying to get the rope around poor Vanya's legs, and then with all their strength, lift the heavy box that's supposed to have a printing press in it into the canal where it draws them down. And Panya just sits there, not even noticing the spray of blood on one side of her face. Just sort of wild-eyed. And then with a resolute motion and a shaking hand, she puts the pistol back in her bag. And they pull their way up to the side of the canal and leave the boat behind. Cut to Clara's house, the middle of the night. And Clara, having heard a noise, comes out and finds Panya standing in the shadows, having come up the servant's stairs.
Yeah, I think Kara regards Panya coolly, one would say. I think the first thing she says is, "You look well."
Yes. Invigorated, one might almost even say. Yes. I have good news, Clara.
Oh, well, pray tell. Or actually, would you want to tell this in perhaps a more salubrious setting than the servant stairwell?
Yes. All right. some sort of drawing room, I suppose. She's definitely got this pie-eye gaze, and it wouldn't be until
I
you take
spent
her into.
Can I spend a token to overhear this?
Ooh.
Because I live with Clara, or
Maybe
I live
not.
in Clara's house.
Maybe not the contents of the conversation, but the fact that Panya snuck in. How's that sound?
Not the conversation, but that Panya is here.
Yeah. No, that sounds perfect. I guess that goes to me because
Yeah.
getting me arrested is probably against my interests. I mean, story interest, maybe not. Character interest, sure. So
Yeah.
I think when you lead her towards the drawing room, that's when you can see that there's still like a fine spray of blood on one side of her face.
I think Clara use it as an excuse to get close to Panya's face and like grab her by the chin and like direct. I think Clara's holding a candle as well, and so she'll like direct Panya's face so that the blood is
Panya
like
grabs you
clear.
by the cheeks and kisses you.
Wow. Okay. This will tell you that this happens. This Clara has done this before because as she kisses you, she'll expertly put the candle on a nearby table without spilling it. And um, I think like there's like maybe a pause in the kissing. I think Clara like gives you like this smirk and says, "So is this what gets your blood up? Doing the work?"
Oh, this wasn't. I found the traitor.
Well, I guess you deserve a reward then, my dear. And I think she'll continue kissing you and will maneuver you in such a way that you'll get close to the drawing room door and lock it. I think maybe Max saw us as we were walking in.
She shoves you up against the wall and is like just sort of leaning over, like, come to Switzerland with me.
I think like a car like laughs startled and says, "What about your work? Your cause? What about Victor?"
You saw Victor. Victor can't save us now. I'll need to leave. They'll be looking for me, I'm sure. I suppose. We can bring your daughter. We'll raise her there.
I think like Clara kept disguise like the glee in her eyes at everything you're saying. You're basically telling her everything she wants. I think she'll cup your face in both of her hands and say, "You've just said so many wonderful things. I just hope that you'll stick to them this time, right?"
Stick. Clarissa Shevna, how can you possibly doubt my dedication to things now? How can anyone doubt my dedication? I have proved it.
Oh, don't worry. I think I have a good measure of your dedication, my dear Panya. Kind of like, I think like, kind of wants to get over the conversation and starts like again softly kissing your face, and then not so softly.
I think Panya grabs you in an indelicate area, possibly without invitation. And I mean that I want this to be as icky as we're allowed to take. She's not in her right mind right now.
Sorry, there was one rather cursed sentence popped in my head. Bonnie will feel that Clara is that area feels very inviting at the moment. It's yeah. I think most viewers can infer what that means.
Cool. I throw you down on the floor, and she's kneeling over you and pulls the gun out of her purse. But if you betray me, I'm gonna fucking kill you.
Okay. Huh.
we can fade out on that just to the sound of crashing furniture.
Yeah. I think I just want to like at least spell the reaction to that. I feel like Clara should have a reaction to that. Like is Clara so? I mean, her fixation is her own gratification, and right now it's Panya, and like, is this enough of a is this like, does she get scared or does she like get the opposite of scared? Is trying to figure out. Look, I guess it's the last session. We can get as unhinged as we can. Yeah. I think like I mean yeah. Sorry, I'm just remembering the scene in Goodfellas when Henry Hill's wife pulled a gun at him, and he's just like, "Holy shit!" Like, so I think like Clara I think just is like, well, kind of like let the gun touch her face, and then we'll gently like pat it away, and then rise up to like grab you by the lapel or whatever, bring you close to her, and we can end it there. We can fade to back there.
I mean, sooner or later, I had to play someone unhinged, right?
Yeah.
Oh, come on. This had to happen sooner or later.
Yeah. Russian mafia vibes. It's we knew, and it was yep.
So how did we go from a novel chapter where there was like a party and a hookup in like a coat closet to a cult leader and a murder, like an execution?
It's Dostoevsky.
Yeah, I looked at the calendar and saw we only had one more session. And the next one is when we deal with the fallout, and Panya's increasingly manic guilt over what she's done.
Yay!
Because she's probably not as hard as she puts out.
Also, Max hasn't fired his gun yet, and he needs a good reason to do that.
I'm figuring that there's all sorts of ends I have pictured for Panya, but about 50% of them involve a pistol shot. About evenly distributed about who's pulling the trigger between her, Max, and Leonia. Penal servitude. She might get away with it. I don't know, but probably not. Dostoevsky was at heart a moralist in the end, so. Bad ending, cat. Bad ending, cat. Where will this all go? Siberia, probably. But also, somebody may have a conversion to Christianity on the way. It would be on point, is all I'm saying. So until that point, we will return next time for the last session of this. Until then, be well, everyone. Have a good night.
wasn't ready for this part. I was still like building myself up to be Victor.
It's all good. We're gonna get through this.
Oh, so we can do this together.
Remember the razor scene? We had to work our way up to that.
True. And we pulled that one off. So we can do this. We can do this.
Yeah, that was a scene.
God.